The fitness industry is blatantly failing 240 million people just in North America alone. Hello, this is Mark Wildman of Wildman Athletica, and today we're going to talk about a program that I have written for people who are severely deconditioned. About 240 million, rough estimate, people are pretty deconditioned and cannot take part in the fitness industry because the fitness industry tends to be meant for people who can already run and already jump. If you are deconditioned, you should not be running, you should not be jumping, because you have a giant sandbag on your body that will beat up your skeleton. You can run and jump after you have gotten really good at a couple things. Standing all the way up, we'll talk about what that means, and then learning to express hip snap power in the standing position. When you get good at standing up, then you can get good at walking, then you can get good at running. You can get better at working on your standing position by breaking down throwing patterns into small pieces. This is important because humans have thumbs. Thumbs are there for a reason. They allow us to hold on to things like clubs. They also allow us to hold on to hammers. They allow us to hold on to axes. They allow us to hold on to shovels. And these tools are what define humanity. Humans are tool users. A huge problem that I have seen in the physical therapy industry is not the use of actual levers, the use of fake things like rubber bands. Rubber bands do not exist anywhere in nature, and there are some really cool things that you can do with rubber bands, but they are just mimicking what you can do with this. Another problem I see with the physical therapy industry is a lack of timing in order to get people back to the most important thing, standing up. I had a family member who was extraordinarily sick for about 10 years. He had injuries that he got because medication was messed up, and he fell down. When he fell down, he got a spinal injury. That spinal injury put him on his back for 2 years. When he was on his back for 2 years, after about 10 days, your body starts to atrophy and you adapt to the position that you are in. So his body specifically adapted to lying down, and that comes with a bunch of really bad problems like foot drop, where you can no longer control the angle of your foot, so you have to wear things like foot braces. Your whole body adapts to the lying position, and you tend to be looking up because you're looking at something as you're lying down, so your neck gets all out of whack. We've talked about neck mobility in the past. I originally wrote that 3-minute neck program, which millions of people have taken advantage of, specifically for this family member, so that they could get back into a vertical position and start moving their neck and reestablishing what neck movement should be. If your neck works, then you can start to get your shoulders to work. When I watched the physical therapy for my family member, what I noticed is that they weren't doing any real shoulder movement. What is real shoulder movement? It is throwing pattern movement over and over and over again. To get people back to standing, we would like to get people into a standing position and give them something that is time controlled, starts simple and gets complex over time. We do not jump right to really fancy complex stuff. We have to break it down little by little. The program that I've just finished is on its 3rd iteration because I wrote a version of the program. I had it tested by people with traumatic brain injury, by people who were bedridden, by people who could no longer stand up, and it was too complicated. So I went back and I wrote it again. And I shot it again, I edited it again, and I gave it to people, and they still couldn't follow it. We can always make things simpler in smaller steps so that people can learn. If the people who need the program can't do the program isn't what it needs to be yet. We have to keep going back and redesigning and re-engineering the solution over and over and over again. The design that we've settled on uses one club, starting with a 1-pound club, $20 on Amazon, eventually moving to a 2-pound club, and then eventually moving to a 3-pound club. The idea is very simple. It is 60 seconds of work on one side, starting with a very simple movement like putting your arm behind your head, repeating it for 1 minute, transitioning, doing the exact same thing on the other side, and then adding some step of complexity. Opening your shoulder, closing your shoulder, opening your shoulder, closing your shoulder, going to the other side. Getting people back into a standing position, even if they are severely injured, they can hold with one hand to a stabilizing thing, move the other side of their body so that they can start to reestablish how their body should work. And they do it time controlled. We don't count reps because people tend to change how fast they go between one side and the other. So we set a timer. We allow people to go for 1 minute on one side, change their support hand, go to 1 minute on the other side, and then we can start with 4 minutes. 4 minutes of standing up and repeating something. Then we do a whole week of that, a different track of movement each day, so you're not repeating the exact same thing. And then we come back next week and we stand up for 6 minutes. That means left hand, right hand, left hand, right hand. That was 4 minutes. We add one more set on each side. We stand up for 6 minutes. We have a track 5 days a week. Each day repeats the same ideas, but breaks it down into different orders. We're trying to get people good at very basic things again, but all focused on opening the upper body and opening the shoulders back up and getting the head back where it should be. This program is going to sit inside of our already existing TOI program, training for overweight and deconditioned individuals. That program focused on a squat, because everybody needs to get up and down with equipment that you can use at home so that you don't have to travel to do that. Most people don't want to travel to be looked at when they are deconditioned. They want to get through the basics on their own in the privacy of their own home so they can work out what needs to happen mentally. A squat, a suitcase deadlift, the most important type of deadlift there is because it's the one most common in the real world, and an overhead press because once again, we're trying to get everybody back to standing. So now we have a light club, we call these Indian club program that lasts for several months. We have a light kettlebell program, which could use a dumbbell. And then we have our heavy club program. This is a heavy Adex club where we will focus on inside circle, outside circle, and shield cast. The goal is to make a program that actually helps people, where the equipment is very, very affordable and it allows you to continue to progress every day without having to spend $200 on a physical therapist to show up to your house every day. Physical therapy is very expensive. I know that there are physical therapists out there who really care. I've just only met maybe 2 in my entire life who actually tracked data, wrote it down, started a plan, and kept it going. What I see in the modern medical industry is the therapist has 12 sessions and they do exactly what the insurance company told them to do because that's what the insurance company will approve. We need to get back to standing up. We need to recondition ourselves. We need to build movement patterns. You cannot be in shape without movement patterns. Whatever your sport is, it has specific movement patterns. If you play football, you have patterns specific to football. If you do Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, you have movement patterns specific to that. If you ride horses, if you ride dirt bike, if you cycle, all of those things have their own specific movement patterns, but they're all based on a couple of basic ideas. Moving your shoulder properly allows your neck, your shoulder, and your torso to help you breathe better and get back to standing up. If you cannot stand up, you cannot learn to walk for distance. If you cannot walk, you do not function well in the modern world. You have to be able to walk to go new places, to do new things, and to talk to new people. That is key. And then beyond that, there's all kinds of things we can do. The goal is to build a program where we can get people out of a hospital bed where they have been for years, get them back to standing in a progressive, logical program for cheap equipment, move them into more advanced programs that all stack on top of each other, one after the other. This program, TOI, we've been adding to this program because this is the most important program. At least 240 million people need this program, and I don't see anybody else doing this. So we're going to keep adding to this program for years to come. This section of the program is coming out now. Other sections of this program focusing on using these are going to keep coming out. The goal is to get people to the point where they can do complex movement patterns for a minimum of 20 minutes. They can go up in weight and we can get them to do a full year of it. But I will make this a 5-year program because as these get heavier, everything about your life gets better. As the movements get more complicated, your brain works better, your body works better, you breathe better. Then we can move on from there. Get good at standing. Get good at picking things up. Get good at hip snap. Get good at lifting things up, putting them overhead. Then get good at getting up off of the ground. All fitness should be built on that. Whether you start in a hospital bed and you want to end up climbing a mountain, there is a clear and distinct path to get from point A to point B. And we're going to keep making these programs as long as possible.